Some Vikings. Oh, it's time. It's Friday night, and you're happy you're here, even if you're not here yet. I got a brand new beer. I was just telling Eric about it. I'm excited to tell all of you about it. It's from Indeed Company, and it is, let's see, out of Minneapolis. And this one is called Flavor Wave. So not Flavor Flav, but Flavor Wave.
Oh, Flavor Flav.
And it says it's juicy, sticky, and pineapple-y. Those are the three things I'm to expect here.
I would like all those things except for the beer part. Remember Flavor of Love? That was like the greatest show. Like if you wanted to watch a train wreck every week, oh my God, what a great show. God, I missed that show. It was way better than Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. That wasn't as good.
You have watched a lot of reality TV, Ben, and you liked a lot of it, which is weird.
You know what the best show though is? The best dating show? And anyone who has a daughter, like Mo, you have 2 daughters, someday you should make them watch this show. Not now, they're too young, but when they're like 13, is Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh.
You talk about that one all the time.
No.
It's awesome because I watched it with my daughter and I'm like, listen, do not ever be as stupid as these people on the show and these girls on the show. Are you watching these guys? All they want is one thing. Do not be as dumb as these girls on the show. And it's
to get a rose.
Yeah. And she told me, she's like, oh yeah, thanks, Dad. She's like, these people are stupid. And I'm like, yeah, we just sit there and laugh. 2 of us watch the show and laugh our butts off. And that's the one thing she said this summer. She's like, Dad, there's no Bachelor in Paradise now because of coronavirus. She started tearing up a little bit. And I teared up a lot.
Oh, man. Hey, guess what? We got a new subscriber.
I know. If we get,
we're no longer at 69 subscribers, man. Damn.
I know. That'll make Eka sad.
One glorious week. And Ben was like, I don't know what that means, but I wear this shirt that Jason Eckes got me. Says the square root of 69 equals 8 something and yada, yada, yada. I don't know what that means, but I guess it is 8 something. I never checked. That's what he said last week, I think. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing,
it is.
But something.
It's 8 point something.
And Andy Brown finally subscribed. I didn't know he didn't subscribe until now.
Subscribed?
Well, no, now we have 71.
What?
We're getting huge. Getting huge, Eric.
Okay, hey.
And Eric.
One more thing that I just noticed today, because I just went on YouTube to check something, but then that's how I got sidetracked, and then I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Tom Grassi. Did you see Tom Grassi today?
No.
He had a Friday Q&A.
Oh.
What episode of Hafen Bros is this? 19?
This is 19, Brews Bros.
Whatever.
We started it, Grassi. We're the originals. Yeah. Finally getting on board.
He's feeling the heat. Our 71 subscribers and his 71,000 subscribers, he started to... Whoa, Mo couldn't handle it either. Oh, my God.
I'm still here.
He totally, like, morphed into somebody else. It's like Mystique. Changed form. Oh, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. What's up, brown dog?
Hey, boys.
All right, let me see what's happening here.
Cheers.
It's getting crazy. Oh, Brown. Thanks for subscribing, Brown.
I thought I had already, but apparently I hadn't. So,
well, we're glad. Hey, you like to test it out, make sure it's a quality program before you smash it. I get it. We try our best. But I was just going to say the reason why we keep climbing in subscribers is because of our awesome guests. Look at this panel tonight. Boom, boom, boom. Nico, if you're out there, I know I told you could wait till 9:20, but Brown's here already. So just come on in. Just come in, buddy. Because a 4-pack makes a 6-pack. That's the title. Talking about the pack. That is tonight's title for this show. And we'll talk some Vikings. Eric, you can unmute yourself because we will talk a little bit of Vikings. Because we're going to get into the top 100 list. And Ben kept going on and on, which to Nick's, I don't know, Nick really enjoyed and had a lot of fun with that the other night when we did our emergency Hafen Brothers on the Tuesday night because of the injustice done to Devontae Adams. at number 57. But Ben was more outraged by the Vikings that were snubbed on the top 100 list.
I was not.
I said Preston Smith is number 63. And then I said, let's see who else is around there. Then I said right in front of Harrison Smith, number 64. And then all of a sudden I thought it might be an alphabetical list. But then I was like, no, that's not it, because the next guy wasn't Smith. But then you're like, Harrison Smith, he's better than Preston Smith. What is this list? Eric Kendricks, come on. Right. Okay. Right? It was something like that.
Yeah. So,
Eric, how are you feeling about your said name person on the Vikings who's very similar to you, who gets way down at number 83, according to the NFL players?
Is that Eric Kendrick's spot, 83?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think, I don't know. Everyone,
You're
I think,
speechless about
locally
it. It's
knows
upsetting
how
you that much.
I think after Danielle Hunter, he's the best player we have on defense, to be honest with you. So I think Harrison Smith is great, but what Eric Kendricks does, and I think the outside blitzing linebackers would get more sacks, get more of the glory. But I mean, he basically won the Dallas game for him last year when they broke up that pass on fourth down. He's a great coverage guy, which is super important in today's league. So, and he's just, all he does is lead the league and lead the team in tackles every year. So I don't know what you don't like about the guy, but I think he's great. So I'm just glad he made the list. I was worried he'd get snubbed.
Well, I think he was too low as well. I thought he was a lot better than where he was placed. But I also thought the same thing about Fred Warner from the 49ers, who was, both those guys were well behind Preston Smith, the first Packer on the list, to our surprise. I mean, it's nice that Preston Smith was there, but being a number 63 in the league, I don't know. That's kind of high. And Ben made the argument, and I was kind of thinking about it the last couple of days. As I don't like to, give in to Ben right in the middle of the show, but as I thought about it, I was like, yeah, okay, I think you're right. Preston Smith's probably shouldn't be that above a bunch of these guys in this list. But I mean, it's nice for the Packers, I guess.
I'm not familiar. I mean, outside of did Preston Smith, did he have double-digit sacks or?
He did.
Okay,
I mean, they
did he get there?
3.5 of them came against Joe Flacco. So
He's slow.
I mean,
He's really slow. Yeah.
I don't know.
well,
Browner.
one thing real quick about the inside linebackers. There's only 7 inside linebackers on the list.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a crap ton of inside linebackers. So, and Eric Kendricks is listed 4th on here at inside linebacker. So ahead of him was Fred Warner, Leonard or whatever from the Colts, and Wagner. So you're talking 3 really good inside linebackers, and Eric Kendrick was the 4th inside linebacker there. So you're talking, a lot of good inside linebackers.
And now
There's
it's
only
a
7
six-pack.
that made the list.
It's a 6-pack.
Oh, this is way too many guys.
It's a
Oh my
6-pack,
God.
baby. I told you. So your challenge in the chat, if you're into the brews and the bros, is to drink as many brews as people you see on the screen during this hour.
The only person left in the chat is Bernard, because we're all on the show live.
That's what I was thinking.
And we all know Eckes has already had 6 or more brews, so.
Nico, tell us the Bucks won, didn't they? 119 to 112. Did you watch it?
Big victory for the Bucks. I think we're talking Bucks tonight. Forget about football.
What?
It's basketball season. Bucks are going to win the championship.
I like that.
I think Nico has a really low chair or something. So
I know. I'm trying to adjust myself here.
All right. He's going for the, like the little kid at the big table lick or whatever.
I was looking for scissors to cut the sleeves off my shirt so I can be guns out like the host there.
Hey,
Whoa.
this is my only Bucks. It's like the only Bucks shirt I got, man. I got one other one, but I can't help it.
Guns out.
Came that way. Just came that way. Yeah, and I haven't really been doing much either to keep them up. They kind of, after the push-up challenge was done, then they just went back to, as Sophia would say, soft and squishy. So, but what do you do? Hey, Brown, You, I don't know. Did you get a chance to check out our emergency program from Tuesday? What were your thoughts on the Packers already on the top 100 list here?
The Packers on the top 100?
Yeah.
I definitely felt that Dante was too low. I think he's one of the best in the game. I was surprised by Preston Smith. I mean, he must have the respect of his, you guys could talk about some of this. Saw an interesting thing this week, and I don't know, but they said like there was only like 2 other times that Rodgers wasn't in the top 10 in his career. The year following, he went on to win the MVP. So I don't know if he uses that as motivation or whatnot, but yeah, I mean, I didn't disagree with Za'Darius and Bakhtiari and those guys being on there. Was happy to see Aaron Jones was as high as he was, considering how much, you guys talk about him. And I agree. I think the players respect what he did last year with all the touchdowns and stuff like that. So, yeah, I was trying to think of anybody that I was surprised like didn't make it or did, but as you go through their roster, there's no other guys that stand out that would be in the top 100. I don't think, just because there's so many players in the league. But they have 6 out of 100.
I mean,
a
that's a lot.
30-team league is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And there was like 4 or 5 teams that have no players at all, no representatives from their team at all on the whole list, which is kind of crazy.
But
The
Jets, the Dolphins,
ahead.
the Bengals, the Jaguars. My guy Gardner Minshew did not make it, and
No.
the Washington football team and the Lions. Those 6 teams
Wow.
did not have a single player. Now the Lions had a guy who was on their team last year, but he's no longer on the team. So
Wait a minute.
0 Lions.
Wasn't Matt Stafford on like a bunch of those top 10 quarterback lists?
Do you want to get into that, the quarterback now already?
No, but I'm just
I'm
confused.
all right with it.
No, just
I
hold
just-
on.
I'm confused because I did a quarterback list and I got made fun of. I got made fun of because I had Josh Allen on it. Apparently, it was too high. I had
He is too
Murray
high.
on it. Apparently, he was too high. I had my top 9 guys all on this list at the top 9 spots. The only guy who in my top 10 it wasn't was Carson Wentz, which, I mean, how Jimmy Garoppolo made it at 43, I'll never know. But whatever. The other thing, Drew Brees, I'm going to say this. He got 12. I have him at number 27 in quarterback rating. I'm on Ben Hafen quarterback rating. But the reason everybody talks about how great Drew Brees is, did you know that his on balls beyond 20 yards, okay, his quarterback rating or whatever it is 20 points lower than his regular quarterback rating of passes that are within 20 yards. And most quarterbacks, because of the way they do that weird formula or whatever it is where they do the quarterback ratings, longer passes, even if they're not completed, but if they're attempted, give you more points. So like every other quarterback in the NFL has a higher quarterback rating most of the time on their passes on 20 yards or more downfield than their passes that are lower than 20 yards or, not as long as 20 yards. And Drew Brees, he's got a 20-point lower difference in passes beyond 20 yards as opposed to passes within 20 yards of him throwing the ball, which just proves my point. The guy can't throw a ball downfield 20 yards. He stinks. No one's afraid of him. Just ask Mo. The Vikings weren't afraid of him. They're afraid to hit Taysom Hill. Back to you.
Is that true?
Can I add this though?
Yeah.
Is their offense designed for that? Do they go get players that are designed for that? I'm not trying to defend Drew Brees. I think he's often ranked a little too high. I mean, I think he's still pretty good, but they got, you look at the players they've picked up or the wide receivers they've picked up or Kamara, for example, it's all designed for that short, quick passing game that Peyton likes to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say one thing too, watching Michael Thomas's tape is that guy's open and open by a lot of the time.
All the time.
It's ridiculous how open he is. So I don't know. That makes quarterbacking easier, obviously, as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Bernard. Hey, Bernard says we got to step away from the 100 list to talk about Bernard's thing. He said, "Have you seen the A-Rod interview?" I'm assuming he's talking about the thing with Kyle Brandt, which they just have a little clip to tease you, right?
Yep.
And the whole thing, I watched the interview with Brant talking about it. He said it went on, they talked for like 2 hours. You know, I don't know what it's going to be edited down to, but he said Rodgers talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and it was an awesome interview, and I'm sure it is. But I thought he said a lot of really straightforward, poignant things that really were honest and probably how he's feeling. I mean, it's sad because I do think, unfortunately, it's looking more and more like if Jordan Love is even decent or halfway decent in practice, they'll try to move on from Rodgers in 2 years. But I don't know. Seems like might play somewhere else at the end of his career. And he didn't say he wouldn't play on the Bears. And I was thinking about that too. When is Trubisky's contract done? How long they really need Nick Foles to hang in there? Maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's Nick Foles, hold it down for a couple of years till we can get Rodgers in 2 years.
Kirk Cousins should be about done in 2 years. So there's always that.
The Vikings wait till he's washed up with the Bears and then bring him in.
Yeah, it's got to be a one-team buffer. Yeah.
Nico, I know you've said many times you don't think it's going to happen. You think Rodgers is going to stay or still be on the team. Not that it's his choice, but what do you think after what he said?
I didn't hear the interview, but it's really hard to say what's going to happen 2 years from now. A lot can happen between then and now.
Well, it was interesting because he came out and he said, look at the facts. They moved up to get him. They drafted this guy in the first round. They want to play him. I mean, he said all those things.
There's one quote, dude.
Probably true. Go ahead.
There's one quote that gives it away.
What?
His quote was, "I wanted to end my career with the Packers." He said, "I wanted." That is past tense.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I have already decided and I already realize it's not going to happen. It wasn't, hey, they know I want to stay here. They know I want to play here. No, it was I wanted to end my career here, which means it's done. If it's not done now, it'll be done in 2 years or whatever. And
I think you could hear the disappointment.
Oh my God, you could. It was sad.
In the quote where he talked about, everybody wants us to compare this to my situation, but they traded up to get Love. Favre had talked for 2 years about possibly retiring. And he's like, they didn't trade up to get me. I fell to them, and he's like, I'm not talking about retiring. Don't plan to retire anytime soon. And so that's where I could really, in that, I mean, it's reading into a lot, but the snippet I heard, you could feel, in my opinion, the disappointment in his voice, for sure.
But the thing I keep going back to is the Patriots thought that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to replace Brady. And they drafted him high and they worked him out and he was supposed to be the heir apparent. And it just didn't happen because the circumstances in the NFL could change. I mean, this season's going to be a weird one. If it exists, it's going to be weird. So who knows what's going to happen. And then you got a whole nother year after that where anything can happen. So it's really easy to talk about it now, but you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's something I did. I gave you 47 to 52 reasons why Aaron Rodgers would be still the Packers quarterback. I already told you all that because a lot of first round quarterbacks stink. They aren't any good. But let's say this season doesn't happen and the contracts aren't adjusted after that. And then it's a 1 year thing where the Packers got to make a decision based on salary cap and this and that and what they're going to find out if they got, what they have in this kid. I mean, it could be a situation where whatever this year looks like does or doesn't happen, then maybe forces the Packers to make a quicker decision. I don't know. I'd hate it, but I could see him doing it because one, they've done a lot of dumb stuff recently and I don't trust Gutekunst. And LaFleur, I think he's a little bit of a power player, despite the way he comes off and tries to be. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, worse yet, what if there isn't a choice? What if Jordan Love isn't looking good in practice, and
Mhm.
it doesn't look like the heir apparent.
Right.
Do the Packers still have the choice to keep Rodgers, or is the bridge burned now, and
Right.
it's Rodgers' choice to say I'm done and move on? Too bad, and who knows? By that time, things could change. But
Well, the thing is, he's under contract for 4 years, so he's screwed. He can't get out unless they get him out of town. I mean, he could be disgruntled. He could pull Jamal Adams and say stuff about how, he can do all kinds of crazy things.
sure,
But if the Packers want to keep him, they keep him. The other thing somebody else was saying, I heard, and it crossed my mind. He did say wanted, which was the key word, but also his tone in that interview was very down, and his choice of words made him appear as the victim, which is what he is. But it makes the organization look like the bad guy. So somebody was saying, it's probably Skip Bayless or some jerk, saying, oh, he's just trying to make it, he's trying to make him look like the victim and them look like the bad guys, so that the fans are on his side, and they kind of, force the Packers that they better make sure that Jordan Love actually looks good, and the fans see that he looks good before they pull the trigger on trading Rodgers at any time or whatever it is. Which could be the case. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it was a weird interview. It was a sad interview. Usually when you think of Aaron Rodgers, all I ever hear, everybody has ever known Aaron Rodgers, his friends, his teammates. This is the most competitive guy I've ever been around. This is the most competitive guy I've ever been around. This guy, he competes in practice. He competes when he's doing the throws. He competes on the golf course. He competes in Jeopardy. He's the most competitive guy ever. And in this interview, he sounds like a guy who's kind of resided to like, hey, I guess I'm done. I mean, I guess they want him and they don't want me. And it was kind of shocking to hear him in that tone. What do you think, Eric Dahl? You've seen Aaron interviews with Aaron Rodgers. If you've seen this interview, do you see that as well or no?
I didn't see this interview, but I was going to try to butt in and play devil's advocate here a bit. I mean, I would love to see him finish out his career in Green Bay. He's done some great things for the team. He's been a good leader. And I hate to see any player, especially one with a legacy like he has in Green Bay, get forced out or treated like he did. It just doesn't seem like the team is being very forthcoming or straightforward with what they're trying to do. So that part sucks. As far as him being completely the victim, I don't know. I mean, we were talking about how he's dropped in the rankings in the player poll top 100. You guys have talked in previous shows about his propensity to just look to Devontae or not trust other people on the team. Is there tension in the locker room? Is he butting heads with the team management? Is he butting heads with the coaching staff? Like, what's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about? If there is a problem, it'd be nice if it would get out there, and presumably they're not talking to him much about this, or maybe it should be clear to him and it's just not. But without knowing what's going on behind closed doors, it's hard to point fingers only at team officials and not, if there's some friction between him and the coaching staff, yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, they're not going to risk losing the locker room for a guy who's going to be there for a year or two, potentially. I don't know. I mean, it sucks that, they had such a good thing going for so many years. To have it go out and end this way just frankly sucks. But I think there's more to the story than we're seeing in the media. And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to make a big deal about it in the media, really play it up like you see a lot of the players do. And yes, he's under contract for 4 years. They don't have to trade him, but how many times have you seen a guy with a big contract get unhappy and just cause problems on the team until they trade him? I don't think Rodgers would do that, but the Packers aren't going to let him sit there and suck up a ton of salary cap and not get anything for him for 3 years either.
Yeah, it's true. The Rick Bake, great background, by the way. Can you tell us what that is now? Is that the Las Vegas home?
No, that was Oakland.
Okay.
Back when the Raiders were, less bad. The real home of the Raiders in the black hole. I actually took that picture myself. But
Oh.
Wow.
But,
impressive.
This is starting to turn into like a funeral. I'm getting sadder and sadder. And we
this
haven't
is
even
what,
heard like Browner being sad yet. He's gonna be sad. Look at him.
hold on one second. I got to tell you this because this was not supposed to come out till way later in the show and it was a maybe, but now I got to say it because this all came up right now. So I'm telling you, like you just said, Ben, Aaron Rodgers said all this stuff. And I've watched, I told you, you said I got a problem or I got something's wrong with me or whatever, because I've seen every single interview he's ever done. I have watched every game he's ever played in. I've seen basically every snap he's taken. But I've watched all of not just the post-game interviews, the weekly interviews, preseason stuff, all of it. Seen it all. And you got people like this guy, to me, pretty much says, and especially the older he's gotten, he's pretty much just being real. Like he's pretty much saying what he thinks. Okay? That's the way I think he is. And I think he was very honest in the clip that they showed. It sounded like from Kyle Brandt's discussion about the whole thing that he was very honest throughout the whole time. I thought he was very honest when he was on Pat McAfee's show and talking with those guys. And I've seen him other times. But I think people think he's always got some kind of agenda or he's always angling at something. And I put a thing in, I think like the Facebook post or whatever. That's something that I've experienced as well. So I'm not like Aaron Rodgers in any other way. I've never been super great at any one thing. I don't have anywhere near the money or any of the stuff that he's ever had. But that is one thing we have in common. There are people that don't know me very well that then think that I'm angling at something when I never am. Like I'm just being straight up. And I feel like Rodgers is being straight up with a lot of this stuff. But then you got all these people out there that want to spin it. They want to put something on them. They want to put them down. And they start pushing all of that stuff. And then you got the haters and they'll say that too. And then you got the real fans that then start to question it and think, whoa, is there a problem in the front office? Like Rick was saying, or is there a problem with the coach? Are they butting heads? And you ask the coach, he says no. You ask the guy, he says no. You look at other guys on the team, like Zadarius Smith, like Preston Smith, like some of these other guys that came to this team, and this was their first year with it, and they talked about how great of a locker room it was. So if he was being a problem, I don't think you would have had all that happening, and they would have been as close. So I don't buy it. I think he's being straight up honest, and people aren't being jerks.
So I don't think it's like an Antonio Brown sort of situation or anything like that. I mean, I don't think it's obvious way. Sorry, my dog is going crazy in the background here. I don't think it's like causing discontent in the locker room or anything. And that's, I think what frustrates me is if there is a problem, is it a real problem or is it a perceived problem with the coaching staff or team administration? Are they,
Might be a fluor problem.
It could very well be. Is he imagining there's something there, or just, does Aaron have a better rapport with the team than he does and he doesn't like it? That, I guess that's what I'm going at. I'm not saying it's Rodgers causing problems. Maybe there's not even really a problem there, but it's just a perceived, you get a new coach coming in to a place that it's basically been Rodgers' team for how long. And, he sees a rapport that he has with his players and the leadership he has in the team. And maybe it's something he's jealous of or he wants, or he's just not feeling like he has the same type of control over the team. I mean, it's all speculation, of course, but it's a much different scenario than, even something like Stephon Diggs demanding to be traded because he's not getting respected, and just one of many examples of players doing things like that. Right? I mean, it's a much different situation.
All right. Speaking of Stephon Diggs, Eric Gardner, how did you feel about losing him? And now he's, according to the players, a better player than Devontae Adams.
Well, I've always liked Stephon Diggs, and he was fun to watch. He was a lot different than some of the other guys where he had more of that swagger about him and things, and he was definitely very passionate and competitive, and that sort of thing's contagious too. So I think they got to find a way to replace that piece of it. And, I think between him and Thielen, there's times where I think they're really two number one receivers that had to share the ball. And I think they actually did that pretty well. So I think he's actually a really good teammate, but I don't know, there's some rumors that he was never going to be like the guy while Thielen was there. And that was why maybe he wanted out too. But But I don't know. He's got a little bit of drama to him, so I'm not sad that that's gone. But his production, obviously, maybe a little more than a little. But so I'm okay with that being gone as long as they can replace the production and the competitiveness. So, and they obviously got a pretty good haul for him. So,
Nico, you for a while, you've observed the same things. What do you think about Rodgers? I know you're a Rodgers fan, but I don't know. You don't say a lot about what you think about him personally, whether he's a problem or all this sort of stuff. You buy into any of this crap or what?
First of all, I think that you comparing yourself to him really shows a hidden agenda on your part.
Every show he does. Every show he does.
Yeah,
Every show.
you'll notice that Jason takes over and just leaves Ben in the shadows.
You're
The
really trying to
disrespected
spin
brother.
Really trying to spin a narrative.
Okay.
You know, you gotta watch out for the guys that tell you how honest they are.
Yep.
Fine. You know what? That's fine.
And you have a second thing in common. You both have brothers who love The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
found out
Nico.
that was how I started watching The Bachelor, was because of Jordan Rodgers or whatever. I was like, Aaron Rodgers' brother's going to be on. I guess I'll have to watch this crap. And after that, I was hooked.
And then
Yeah,
you went to
at least that-
Bachelor in Paradise.
That's how I started watching this show.
It's better.
I heard Jason Haifman's brother was going to be on it.
Well, yeah, that's the only reason to watch.
So
That's
two
funny.
things.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's funny you say that, Rick, because in high school, I was known as Jason Haifman's brother.
Even though you're older.
I was a senior in high school. I was the lead singer and lead guitar player in a band.
Still are.
My brother sang 2 songs in the band,
All
and
right.
it was known as Jason Haifman's band. I
Hey,
was like, what?
I sang a whole set. And I sang a whole set with you that summer gig at
Yeah.
the beach. That's where it kind of started getting like that. You got all weird. I tried to downplay my involvement as much as I could, and I told everybody it was your band. It's not my fault. I thought it was my band.
I
Now,
Back
was
to Packers.
Nico,
I was just trying to make a little joke. I wasn't trying to start a family.
Way to go! Now you started all this
bringing up all this old stuff.
frustrations.
Ben has buried this stuff for years now, but it can come out at any moment. You got to know that.
Oh no, it comes out every time. I mean, what?
All right. So
Go ahead,
I
Nick.
am an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think that the looking at his personal life, people go overboard, and who knows how arrogant he is, and who knows how is he telling the coaches this get lost or anything like that? We don't know that. People speculate it because they see his attitude and they see his got a Hollywood girlfriend and whatnot like that, and they speculate these things about his personality based off that. I mean, I think you generally come across as a good guy when they do the team outfits. They all dress like a cowboy. He's dressed like a cowboy. When they do mustaches, he's got the mustache. I don't think he's a separate from the other guys on the team. He's been the superstar player for a decade and a half. I don't think he's as elitist as some people think he is.
I agree.
I think too, just listening to some sports shows this week that, Love's got to sit behind him for a minimum of 2 years, if not 3 years. I mean, these other guys that were drafted in the first round, could potentially step in and be starters. Love is, all experts say, is not even close to ready for that, which again makes you question why they took him in the first round. But if they knew he could sit behind Rodgers for 2-3 years and learn from him, and maybe that'll be motivation for Rodgers in some aspect. And I also think he sat in McCarthy's offense for the last 12, 13 years. And now last year he was in a new offense. So who knows what the season will look like this year. But I think that was part of maybe the downplay, is just a different style, a more run first, didn't have to rely on him as much. And so he just trusted Dante a little bit more, looked his way a little bit more, because it was maybe uncomfortable for him for the first time in a number of years. So I think all variables we got to look at moving forward.
Well, it's also interesting about that LaFleur, this type of offense, right? Is like, you should be able to hit more big plays if the play action's working, if the run game's working, stuff really is coming off of the run game. But the Packers didn't necessarily have the guys to hit those big plays with at the receiver spot. Nor did they have a guy in the middle of the field that could attack the seam because Jimmy Graham is slower than offensive linemen on the team. So, like, you know, I think with an upgrade at some of those spots, at least tight end, more speed. If Sternberger gets off the COVID-19 list with him and Mason Crosby now on the COVID-19 list, if you didn't see that, that means they were either tested positive or they were high risk or coming from a high risk area. So they're currently not able to join the team right away. But, you know, hopefully they find some more ways to be explosive. I don't know where that comes from when you don't draft to upgrade any receivers. And then your Funchy guy is out because he's opted out. But before we go any further with football stuff, I got to say a couple cool things. I see Kyle Craning in the chat for the first time. My birthday buddy.
Nice, Kyle.
Birthday buddy. His first comment is Rodgers equals massive ego. I said any NFL player equals massive ego. Then he said preach. And then Kyle, as we were talking about the band stuff, Kyle said, LOL, it's true. So Ben, apparently Kyle also knew that it was my band or thought it was my band. And Josh
I didn't
George.
think it was your band. Kyle's my friend. God dang it.
Josh
Still,
George.
I hope he's my
He's my,
friend.
he's my
Kyle.
birthday
He's awesome.
buddy. We share the same birthday.
I know. Hey, I can remember. I don't remember if it was his birthday party or a graduation party.
Did he think it was my
But
birthday?
We played at his house. I can remember us playing at his house at one time. I've been to Kyle's house. We were there all the time. We played it. We had a great Dark Sun campaign, but that's a whole nerdy thing. We don't want to get into all that.
Continue on. Well, Mo kind of
Anybody know what Dark Sun is? Mo, you know what Dark Sun is?
Stop it.
You know what Dark Sun is, Mo?
Stay on point.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Ah,
But
that's
It sounds nerdy and cool though. I like it.
it is way cool. Just so you know, it's my favorite D&D world. This side of Dragonlance. Anyways, back to football, which is supposed to be for cool guys.
So before we let Mo get going on the Vikings, just in response to Browner's first point about did they draft Love with the intention of developing him behind Rodgers? You know, maybe they did, but if that was their plan, why aren't they making that clear in their press conferences, right?
Yep.
You know, you could say
Exactly.
that and just remove so much tension and speculation from everything. If that was really your plan, say it, right? I mean, unless they like the intrigue and the drama, which if that's what they're going for, it's kind of a stupid thing to do in my opinion. But I don't buy it that that's what they'd be trying to do if they're not going to say it. So
Marty's totally backing you up on that point, Eric. I can hear it.
I know he's got some strong opinions.
He's fired up. And there was one other comment about the band. Josh George is on here. You remember him? He asked,
He doesn't know about high school.
But he asked, was it a winger cover band? And I
It
said,
was not. Well,
there was some
high
winger.
enough.
There was some
Yeah,
winger,
but
though.
it was instrumentals. We did like
Yeah.
winger songs, but we did them as instrumental because I couldn't sing that high.
Okay.
Well, except we did. Remember, we'd have guys come out. And we had Gus. Remember Gus saying "Loosen up"?
You just drop the octave, then you can do it.
Yeah, we did. That's what he did. And Ben Kilson saying "Madeleine."
That was kind of
what
brutal. Oh, there he is. Look at him.
It was rough.
All right. So back to the Ben. I know you did a bunch of research on top 100.
Oh my
And
God, I have it
know
all
some
broken
of
down. I got all
Some
the
of these guys
numbers.
got some strong takes. Top 100. So who wants to, Ben? You want to kick us off in top 100, and then we'll see where.
Okay, what do you want to do? You want to? I got it broken down by position. I got it broken down by team. I got it broken down by
Just break it down. Just break it down.
defense and offense, all that kind of stuff. What do you want me to do?
Position.
Position.
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Here's something I thought was interesting. So we'll bring it back to the Packers here. Because I've said, a lot of people say Kenny Clark is what, like top 5 defense inside interior defensive linemen, right? There's 8 interior defensive linemen that made this list. And one of them, I mean, he's not really interior defensive lineman. He's actually a defensive end, but I still call him, he's a defensive end in a 4-3 or a 3-4 or a 4-3 or whatever, but he plays inside most of the time. So that's Cam Jordan. So I'm going to make him a defensive lineman because he's not quick enough. He's, whatever.
He's a defensive
Anyways,
end.
I know he is, but he's not, he's slower.
All right,
He
go ahead.
he also said that he put himself at number 1.
Yeah, well, so did Aaron Jones.
So did Aaron Jones. So did a bunch of players, which is, again, it goes back to my point. NFL player equals massive ego. Go
So
ahead.
here's what I'm saying is, are all these guys better than Kenny Clark? Okay. So you got Aaron Donald. Yeah. You guys don't want me to say Cam Jordan? Fine. I'm going to say Cam Jordan. Yeah. Chris Jones. Yes. DeForest Buckner. I don't know. DeForest Buckner, like, he didn't have a great year until last year when he got Joey Bosa there. And then all of a sudden the 49ers were monsters, right? But before Bosa was there and everybody's worried about him, Buckner wasn't quite like the game breaker. And I think that's part of the reason why they traded him to the Colts and didn't, give him the money, right? Because I think Armstead's a better player. He was not even on this list. Fletcher Cox, who I think a lot of people think is better than Kenny Clark. I know Calais Campbell's a defensive end, but he's not a pass rusher. He's a run stopper and a mess up the play guy. So I count him. Cam Hayward and Grady Jarrett. Those are the guys. So Grady Jarrett, Cam Hayward, Calais Campbell, Fletcher Cox, DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Cam Jordan, and Aaron Donald. Is Kenny Clark better than any of those guys as a defensive lineman who's not an edge rusher?
I think he's in the same kind of cut as a Jarrett. I see him as similar players and very disruptive. I just remember seeing Jarrett when the Vikings played him in Atlanta, and he was the only good player they had on defense and was very disruptive. And I think when you think about the role that Clark has for the Packers, I think, with the tools or lack thereof they have up front until he got the Smiths, I think he carried them for quite a while too. So, whereas someone like you mentioned, for the Buckner, maybe needs better players around him to be better. So, but I certainly think he's in that kind of same level there.
The other guys, it's not on here, is shocking to me because every time when the Packers play the Bears, Hicks destroys us. And he's not on here. And I'm kind of like,
he's a monster.
I guess I don't watch all the Bear games, but based on what I've seen, he's a play wrecker. He destroys everybody. Every time the Packers
dinged up last year. I think maybe I don't know if that's a fact.
Maybe that's why he didn't make it. But he's a guy, I think he's better than Kenny Clark. I don't know, but that's just one of those areas that I saw. There's only 8 interior defensive linemen, and 2 of them, like I said, are defensive ends, but they're not really pass rusher guys. So the other thing, another position that I thought was weird is we talked last week about Jair Alexander possibly being the top 5 cornerback, okay? Because he was in Madden, he's rated number 4 overall. And for the defensive backs, there's 15 defensive backs in the top 100. There's 6 safeties and 9 corners, and Jair is not one of them. So my question is, maybe why is he the 4th rated guy in Madden, but not the players don't think he's anything, and a lot of these other guys don't think he's anything.
Well, I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Boom.
That's
why.
Madden.
Rick's got a great man.
Oh.
He's just getting warmed up, you guys.
No, I was actually thinking of Madden due to
Clearly.
the glaring lack of offensive linemen in this. And
Well, I can get over that too.
Without sidetracking Ben's approach here. Last week Nico mentioned, or during the emergency show, Nico mentioned that this is, somewhat popularity, right? Like players don't watch the games. I think there's something to that, right? There's only 9 offensive linemen on this list, and if you just break it down to there's 5 linemen per team, right? That's only less than 5% of starting offensive linemen making the list, but 40% of the starting quarterbacks made the list. So, but if you look at stats, you watch highlights, unless a tackle's getting completely destroyed by a defensive end, or there's something that really draws their attention to them, like John Madden measuring their sweat running down the back of their pants, you don't, no one pays attention to the offensive line. I mean, how many players could probably, I can't imagine all the players will be able to tell you who's a starting guard for the Bills, right? I mean, especially interior line, unless someone's really a standout for some reason. They're there, they're doing their job, and if they're doing their job well, you don't notice them. Most of the time, your attention is called to them because they're not doing their job and they're getting lit up by somebody. like Billy Turner.
Well, there's
But-
no stats, so it's hard to quantify.
exactly. That's what I mean. It's
how
it's
good
so
they are.
stats based.
Yeah, so you don't really know, and that's the weird thing. It's like Carson Wentz didn't make the list, but 2 Eagles offensive linemen made the list, and neither of them were Jason Peters. So that's interesting because Jason Peters, everybody always like, he's one of the best tackles in the league. He's the best tackle in the league for years and years and years, right? And he's not on here. So it's a weird. You're right. Offensive linemen deserve more respect, but let's face it, they're not in the highlights. Matter of fact, there's a video that the NFL Network put up that was the top plays of all the guys in the top 100. And some of the there's one offensive lineman that they had that was this play where he actually totally missed this guy and didn't block him, but they showed him because the play was a big run, but he missed this guy, and the running back just made a cool move and then got past him. And I was just like, that was the worst play to show of that guy. Like who's editing this video? It was just kind of ding dongy. But Bakhtiari is a top rated tackle on here, by the way.
Oh, he's good at holding. Eric will tell you.
Dude,
He doesn't get caught, so he must be good at it, right?
I gotta tell you, you got to see that big run that Aaron Jones had against the Vikings, a couple different angles, and wow, did Bakhtiari hold on that play?
Of course he did.
It was really bad.
He grabs around the shoulder pads and then doesn't let go. It's a hole,
dude. I don't know who he was blocking, but he had his elbow. He was grabbing his elbow. It was bad because I never saw it from that angle before because it's straight on like down the line of scrimmage. You know, and you can see it plain as day because I remember watching the video. I was like, how did Aaron Jones get out of there? And then next thing you know, boom, he's down the sidelines going 50 yards. And then now I know why, because Bakhtiari was holding big time in that play.
Yep.
I also wonder, like, if it's a popularity contest that, you know, I know a lot of these guys are, but I think Jair, in some of the teams, he comes off, you see him kind of jawing with guys a little bit. So, you know, maybe he's a little bit I think he's a little bit cocky. And so if these guys got to vote for him, they might be, he's good, but he's kind of a jerk. So I'm not going to put him on my list type of thing.
Richard Sherman is still on the list.
I didn't stop Richard Sherman.
True.
Yeah, but
True.
See, the difference is Jair has got 2 years in the league.
Right.
And even last year in Madden. So after 1 year in the league, they made him an X Factor superstar. The Packers had 2 X Factors in Madden 20. One was Aaron Rodgers. The other one was Jair Alexander in his second year. And all these guys play the game. So I bet you $10. Browner's got a good point. I bet you a lot of these guys are like, how is this guy in his second league an X Factor cover shutdown corner? You know, after only 1 year in the league, we're not giving him any votes for this crap. And not only that, he only had 2 picks last year. And he gets beat on double moves every now and again. So I could see like that's probably a really good point, Browner, that these guys play Madden. They're probably jealous. They're like, well, why does he have such a high rating when the stats don't back him up?
That's true. A lot of the NFL players play Madden. They're not like Eddie Lacy, who'd never watched football or always played Pac-Man or missed Pac-Man actually, but not Madden or football. He spent all his time not
Burger Time.
Yeah. Burger Town, is that another game?
Yeah,
that's a
virtual. He was
literally
playing Burger Town.
Oh, okay. I got you. No, you. That's a good point. I think for Alexander too, it's the lack of interceptions is a big thing. Probably, you know, he only had 2. He had like no picks his rookie year. He had 2 last year. So when Kevin King gets more picks than you, it doesn't look that good. It's just the truth.
Yeah. So now we got pass rushers. There are 15 edge pass rushers on the list. 7 of them are listed in linebacker, and the other 8 are listed as whatever else. And whatever they're listed as defensive linemen. And when you look at the list, so you've got Frank Clark and Casey are the only guys who are rated that are edge rushers that are rated lower than Preston Smith, by the way. And now with that, the linebackers, the 7 linebackers that are edge rushers, they're outside linebackers. Zadarius and Preston are the 2 lowest rated on the top 100.
Number 25 is pretty good.
Number 20, yeah, TJ. But it's like Preston and Za'Darius, and then after that, then it's Shaq Barrett, Von Miller, T.J. Watt, Khalil Mack, and Chandler Jones apparently is supposed to be.
And
Really
we
good.
have drafted T.J. Watt instead of Kevin King. Just asking for a friend.
Yeah. Come on, Browner.
Browner.
Why bring that
All
up?
right. While this rant goes on, I need another beer.
Anyways, but there's 10. So here's the what I'm trying to say is this. There are 10 edge pass rushers rated higher than Za'Darius Smith, who had the highest pressure rating last season on the top 100. That is an injustice. I'm just based on where they play on the defensive line and on outside linebacker. There's 10 guys that are rated higher than Za'Darius.
So is some of that maybe due to Preston Smith being so high on the list, where people who don't watch the games but just follow the media and hear about the Smith brothers kind of lump them together, and it detracts from Za'Darius and raises Preston up?
Because they started
No.
doing joint interviews. That's what
That was a
brought
genius
Preston
move.
up and brought Za'Darius down a little bit. Because they started doing those joint interviews. You can just ask Mo about Za'Darius Smith. Mo, what do you think? You think Za'Darius Smith is too low on this list? Number 48?
I think
Sure.
the Packers should cut him, and the Vikings should sign him. Because he's a game wrecker. He's, to me, at least last year, he looked a lot more like Khalil Mack to me in the way when he was playing well, in the way that he just wrecked some games in a good way for the Packers, obviously. So, yeah, I think he should be a lot higher than that. And I don't know if it's just being a good teammate that's brought him down a little bit in people's perception, at least on these lists, or what the reason is. But I don't know how you can look at what he did last year and not think he's one of the top edge rushers in the league right now. I mean, I really don't. I said this before. I think he's been the best free agent pickup the Packers have had since probably Reggie White, especially for a defensive player. I mean, we think about what he did for that defense last year. Kind of. I mean, I know you got Kenny Clark and Preston Smith was fine
Charles
too, but-
Woodson was a pretty good signing, actually.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Good point.
I think you just
But-
forgot about Charles Woodson. That's all.
I probably tried to block that out too, but so, but it's something where I don't know how you look at what he did last year and not have him higher than that.
He's lower than J.J. Watt, and he hasn't
Yeah,
done
that's
anything for
bionic
a couple
man.
of years. I mean, that's
Well-
that's where you look at the popularity of it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is a lot of people will bring up, they're like, well, he was in the league and he didn't do anything for his first 4 years. And then last year, of course, he made plays and destroyed everybody. And then my comeback for that is, well, Nick Bosa is rated number 17. He was a rookie who didn't do anything before that. And all of a sudden he's ranked number 17
Yep.
on the top
My
100.
comeback to that would be it's based on this year. It's not career top 100,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, and like Shaq Barrett didn't do, I mean, he was a part-time player with the Broncos, didn't do anything. And then all of a sudden this year he goes to Tampa Bay and he destroys everybody and he's ranked number 32. And that makes sense. But Za'Darius at 48, he's beat out by 10 guys.
Hmm.
And one of them, Jadeveon Clowney's not even on the team right now. And he didn't have that many sacks last year. Now he was hurt for half of the year, but whatever. But
Yep.
you know, I mean, Danielle Hunter's a good player. He's awesome. And I think he is probably right on par with Za'Darius. They're right about the same. Like Danielle Hunter's 40, Za'Darius is 48. And Von Miller, yeah, okay. TJ Watt, yeah. Will Mack, yeah. Chandler Jones. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch Cardinal games. I haven't seen that many, so I don't know if he's destroying everybody or what. Like, I don't know.
All right, Ben, I got to take over here because I got to
Yeah,
watch
go
the
ahead.
clock. I got to watch the clock, and we're getting close to an hour. And I know you dive deep on this stuff. So here's what we're gonna do.
Well, we got to do running backs.
I know we're gonna kick it over to Nico because Nico
Okay.
had to leave before we could announce
Oh, Nico.
live on the Emergency Hafman Brothers broadcast the other night. We announced Aaron Jones being on the list at number 33. Nico could not hang in there for the live world premiere announcement from our show. Nico, what did you think? Because we were talking about it. Ben was getting all whipped up because we said there's only 40 spots left. How's Aaron Jones not on here? It's not going to happen. And there he was, bam, number 33. Were you surprised by that?
I'm very happy that Ben is not going 1 through 100, just saying Aaron Jones 100 times right now. 'Cause that was on the table. 33 is a great spot for Aaron Jones to be, and I think I think it means a lot to him to be that number, specifically being 33. So I think it's awesome.
So I have to ask you guys this because this is what I did after seeing the running backs and the ones that were, because then I was surprised that Delvin Cook was higher than Saquon Barkley.
I was surprised as well.
And then I saw, so I went through and I watched the videos of those guys that were basically from the 40 to above. So Chubb, Jones, Saquon Barkley, Cook, there's Elliott, and
Henry and McCaffrey.
Yes. And I was very impressed. Like, Jones is great stuff. But then I watched Barkley and I was like, holy crap. Have you watched the stuff that guy does? It's insane. He's like a huge Barry Sanders. And that's what he is. He's incredible. And then I watched Cook and I'm like, yeah, he's fast and okay.
Yeah.
But he's not Saquon Barkley, man. There's no way he should be better than him or a little higher on this list than him. And then I was thinking the same thing, like, how is Derrick Henry higher than Barkley? But then I was pretty damn impressed by Derrick Henry's footage. And I was also really impressed by McCaffrey's footage. So the weird part is all those guys are all different, like way different in their styles and what they do. But McCaffrey, Henry, Jones, and Barkley, I'm like, damn, those guys are impressive.
Well, you need to watch Nick Chubb again, because Nick Chubb, I got to say,
okay,
was not on my radar as much. And a couple of weeks ago, I was saying, I didn't know anything. Oh, Nick Chubb. Yeah. The highlights on Nick Chubb are insane. And his breakaway speed, he ran 21 point something miles per hour on a breakaway 90 some yard touchdown run. That I think he's faster than Saquon Barkley is. He's got tree trunk for legs and he breaks tackles like Saquon Barkley does. So I think Nick Chubb is actually like crazily awesome. Like from just watching the highlights, I don't know, watching the entire game, what it's like. But watching those highlights, it blew my mind about how good he was. And then, like you said, Delvin Cook, take away that one run against the Savage, where Savage made Savage look like a chump, but really Savage just was dumb. And Delvin Cook ain't that great. I got to be honest. And we talked about this with Mo before. I think Madison is actually just as good. Like, I got to be honest, Mo. What do you think about that?
Well, I thought Cook was up too high also. And I mean, the biggest problem I have with Cook is his availability, right? I mean, he's hurt. He finally was healthy last year, but actually he still missed 2 games. So that's the problem, is he's not maybe as durable either. I like him as a runner, but yeah, those other guys are obviously really talented too. But I thought he was a little high in this list. But I like him, but I don't want to pay like Christian McCaffrey money for him either. So,
well, bringing up the workload, I think that's one of the things that sets those top 3 guys apart is how many times a guy like McCaffrey or Henry touches the ball over the course of the year compared to Delvin Cook or even Jones. I mean, the offense pretty much runs through those guys.
Right.
Yeah, McCaffrey was over 400 touches. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He should be touching that many times. He's incredible.
Right. I broke this down. I got a yards per touch for these running backs. Okay. I'm going to give you guys this. And this is factoring in their receiving and their rushing. And this is yards per touch. McCaffrey is 5.93 yards per touch. Jones and Cook are tied. Well, Jones is slightly ahead decimal point wise. But they both, when you round up, 5.46 yards per touch. Both those guys. Barkley was 5.35 yards per touch. Chubb 5.31, and Zeke Elliott 5.0 yards per touch. And Derrick Henry is basically his carries because he doesn't have any receptions, pretty much. So he's right around 5, a little below. But that's the production per touch, and the McCaffrey does almost 6 yards per touch over 404 touches. Like that's bonkers.
It is.
You said something about how they're all different players.
They're super different.
And I went back and watched all the video too, because I was like, let's see what these guys are doing. And the interesting thing to me, and I think I understand why Aaron Jones doesn't get the respect based on watching these videos. Because when you watch Chubb, they show a bunch of plays of him just barreling through guys and breaking tackles and running over dudes. And then when he gets in the breakaway, he can take off and run like a madman, right? They show Barkley spinning and juking and wiggling and breaking tackles and doing all this crazy stuff. Like with 20, like there's 4 guys around him and he's just chugging around him and doing stuff. They show Derrick Henry plowing through the line, falling forward 5 yards, like every time, just plowing through. There's 20 guys in the box. He don't care. Plow right through. They show Christian McCaffrey. He's got these little choppy steps like Scott Gartsky. Choo, right? And but you can't bring him down because he keeps the center of gravity straight up and he takes his little steps and it's hard to get, like, if you touch his foot, his other foot's down so fast that he keeps his balance and that's how he stays afloat. And that's how he breaks tackles and keeps moving. And Elliott is kind of like Barkley, but not as jukey, but he breaks the tackles and he can do some things that way. And Dalvin Cook he doesn't do break tackles. He's more of a speed, like he just kind of runs.
Of course he breaks tackles.
Finds the holes. Yeah, but not
you
really.
Watch this. Yes, he does.
I watch it. I live in Minnesota.
He can make him miss. He can run him over. He can do both.
He doesn't run anybody over.
Doesn't. Yes. Okay. You need to watch more film.
I watched him. He tries to run guys over and then he gets tackled as he's running them over.
Yeah.
It's not like Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley who run through guys and plow through them and then get like 4 more yards and then have another guy come over and try to bring him down. Like, those are all what those guys are doing. And then when you watch Aaron Jones, it's very interesting because he gets the same amount of yards as these guys. The holes aren't as big as what a lot of these guys are getting. And he's still like, it's not like he doesn't break tackles he'll break, like guys will go around his leg and you remember the Weebles? They're kind of like Weebles wobble or whatever. They do this kind of thing, right? When you watch Aaron Jones run, whenever there's a picture of Aaron Jones, he's always like leaning way over like this or leaning way over like this. And he uses his body in a way where wherever the defender is, if it's a little guy, he keeps his upper body toward him and tries to stiff arm him. If it's a bigger guy, he keeps his legs toward him and tries to stay away from him that way because the bigger guys are always trying to grab him up top. And he uses his body, and I think it's probably a subconscious thing Aaron Jones does, but he very seldom gets hit. So he's not breaking tackles a lot. So I think a lot of these guys are like, oh, well, he's not breaking tackles. He's not a workhorse running back, blah, blah, blah. But when you watch the film, he's juking and sliding and moving and he doesn't like spin. So he's not like he's not like a Barry Sanders type guy. He just knows how to make guys miss. He keeps his legs moving, but he's not a high stepper. When you watch it, and he's got those little skinny legs, he's very skinny legs.
Yep.
But he's able to like turn his body sideways in this way and that way and make guys miss, doesn't get hit. You never see Aaron Jones get a blindside smack and get knocked out or anything crazy like that because he's always aware of where guys are. He watches head. He's always looking for guys and doing things that way. Another thing Aaron Jones does a lot, which is awesome. Whenever there's an outside run, there's guys that have angles on him. He still gets around them almost every time. And I don't know how he does it because he doesn't look like he's going faster than them. It's almost like they don't expect him to do it or whatever. But it's part of it is, like I said, when you watch him, I swear to God, I've watched a lot of Aaron Jones. When there's a little guy, if it's a defensive back, he takes his legs and he runs them away from the guy and puts his body toward them. It's really interesting. And he does like a stiff arm. And then when it's a big guy, he actually keeps his upper body away and kind of leans so that the big guy doesn't grab him because he's taller than him. So he's going to have a higher reach, right? It's interesting to watch Aaron Jones run. He's a very instinctive guy, but he's not like all these other guys. And I think that's why he doesn't get the respect that, like, Chubb and Barkley and Elliott and frickin', and Henry and all these guys get.
Because he runs boring. Is that what you're saying?
Not boring, but it's kind of boring. I mean, it's weird. It's not really when you watch the highlights, it's not boring. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like doom, gone. Like, whoa, where'd he go? What happened? Like even when his interview, that's the other thing. When you watch the video, it's all Packers talking about Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Except for like Daniil Hunter would be like, yeah, I don't know what happened. He was there and then he was gone. And next thing you know, he was gone. Yeah, he's something else. That's all he said. And I'm like, he destroyed you guys, Daniil Hunter.
That's a lot for Daniil Hunter to say. He's a quiet guy.
Oh, is he? Okay. Well,
that's a lot for him to say. That's like a full sentence.
But that's all, but those are, I think that's the reason why Aaron Jones is not getting the respect. Because he's not like a bruiser. He's not a guy who breaks a lot of tackles.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, you're right. They say, yeah.
I got to read it. The last line. Here's a Jones description. Year 3 proved, this is the write-up, the official write-up on NFL.com of the top 100 players of Aaron Jones. Year 3 proved to be the charm for Jones, who emerged as one of the NFL's most productive players. Jones debuts after compiling career highs on the ground, 236 carries, 1,084 yards, better than Edgar Bennett's 1,067 yards, which should have been in there but wasn't. I just added that for effect. And through the air, 49 catches, 474 receiving yards. He tied for the league lead in rushing, 16 total touchdowns, 19 total touchdowns, and his 1,558 yards from scrimmage ranked 8th. 2 solid postseason games, the first of his career, fittingly punctuated the bruising backs breakout year. Bruising back. They put that in there. Whoever wrote this does not know anything about the NFL, but it's on NFL.com, calling Aaron Jones at 5'10", 207, a guy who never makes any contact with people unless he actually absolutely has to, a bruising back, which is completely wrong. But there it is.
But that's and then like the other thing too is Derrick Henry. He runs straight up, dude. He doesn't juke anybody. He just runs. And then if he gets through the hole, then he's faster than lightning and he's a monster. And it's like, holy crap. But it's like, it doesn't even look like guys don't even want to touch him. And that makes me excited for AJ Dillon, by the way, because he's going to run some dudes though. Right, Browner? You know that.
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope he's that thunder and lightning. Maybe we bring out the thunder and lightning that the Giants brought years ago.
I think that's what LaFleur wants, and that's why they wait. People would say it was a waste of a second round pick. I don't think so, because I think it's going to be, because by watching these videos of Nick Chubb and Barkley and Elliott and all that stuff, it made me realize the Packers don't have that guy. Like, they don't have a guy who does that. They just don't. And I don't know if they've ever had a guy who's done that. Even Dorsey Levens wasn't that type of guy. Dorsey was a one cut and goal guy, more like Derrick Henry without the super speed. But when you watch AJ Dillon's college highlights, he's a Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, run you over guy. And he's not as fast as those two guys though, but he can get you some yards and he can mess you up. The defense, they're going to get tired. Next thing you know, you got Aaron Jones going, boom. It's going to be awesome. We don't need any receivers. Screw it. Run every damn play.
So what you're saying is Aaron Jones is going to get mop-up duty after Jordan Love
No.
and Dylan get the lead?
Aaron Jones is going to be playing slot receiver and running back. And they're going to have him running back. They're going to move him in motion. And it's, oh, my God. It's going to be beautiful. I wish I was the offensive coordinator. I would
that's why they didn't draft any receivers, because then they got Jones and they got Tyler Irvin. They can just stick those running backs in at receiver.
Yeah, as long as it's not Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
He's okay, but he's not. Don't put him at slot receiver. Just keep him at, do the running back screens. That's good.
All right. I got to hear from Nico about
it's been a while.
The quarterbacks above Aaron Rodgers on this list. Nico, what do you think? Good with that?
If you're talking Breeze, Brady, and Rodgers, Breeze is definitely third of those three. So I don't know how Breeze is ahead of both of those guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody outside of Louisiana that thinks that way.
He's probably still got fans in Indiana somewhere.
Okay, so maybe some Boilermaker fans that are ringing out the news here, but I was very surprised to see what's this? I'm drawing a blank here. Number 4 there.
Mahomes.
Mahomes being the 4th best player in the league seems kind of odd, since he just made more money than a small country for being the best player in the league. I would put Mahomes number 1 for sure. So I don't know, Lamar Jackson's MVP and all that, but I don't know if most people would put him over Mahomes in general. So that was kind of a surprise.
I think Jackson's the third best quarterback on that list.
Oh yeah, Browner. Go ahead. Yeah, that was surprising.
If I had to rank the quarterbacks that were in there, I would probably put Mahomes 1, probably Wilson 2, and Jackson 3, and then go from there.
Wow, that's very similar to Ben Hafman's top quarterback ranking, Browner. It's exactly the same.
Lamar Jackson was playing a video game last year. Did you guys see? I mean, the numbers. Yes. I mean, it was. I don't like his throwing motion. I'm kind of surprised he's as accurate as he is, and maybe that will catch up with him. But he was just on this whole nother level last year, and I think maybe long term, maybe want Mahomes. I think he's a little more proven there and everything. Can you do it again? I don't know when people start game planning differently, but yeah, that's the best way I can describe. He's playing a video game last year. He was nuts.
Yeah,
That's the other thing is, and people say,
I gotta say, maybe this one point.
Yeah,
Ben.
go ahead.
You know, the last on this list, since they started doing this list, the last player who was the MVP the previous season who was not number one. Do you know who that was?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Matt Ryan also was in that boat. My bad. Matt Ryan. That's right.
Matt Ryan didn't deserve it.
Matt
He
Ryan
never deserved it.
Matt Ryan somehow got the MVP award, and then I think he finally made the list for the first time, like at number 11.
Right,
He couldn't even crack the top 10. But Aaron Rodgers was MVP in 14 and couldn't be the top person on the list.
Who was the top guy? Do you remember?
JJ Watt that year.
That's right, JJ Watt.
Yeah.
And that
Which is fine. Aaron Donald
Jackson
is awesome. I think Aaron Donald should be number one on this list again.
Well, it's interesting.
Dudes is crazy.
Yeah. I think the reason why Lamar Jackson's number one is because this is the players, right?
Yeah.
And if a player sees Lamar Jackson in front of them, they're all taking a dump. They're scared to death. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't directly affect a lot of them, except for corners, because he throws. But if any linebacker or defensive lineman that's looking at Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, I'm pretty sure they're like, okay, I can probably get a hold of Patrick Mahomes one way or another. But Lamar Jackson is like at a different level. It's very hard for those guys to get a hold of him. And I think that's part of the reason why these guys voted that way. They're probably like, man, he just scares the crap out of me. He makes me look stupid. And that's probably why they're so high. The other thing that's very interesting about this quarterback list, Nico, number 68 on this list, was Ryan Tannehill, the guy that you made fun of me and I put on my top 10 quarterbacks.
You had him fifth, buddy. You had him fifth, I believe.
I know. I do have him at 5. But he made the list. He made the list, bro.
He's not number 5 for quarterbacks.
He's not in the top 10.
Was he? Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe he is. Oh, he's 11.
He might be like right.
He's number 11.
Another guy that Nico and those guys made fun of me, Kirk Cousins. He's on there. He's on the list too.
He
Yeah,
deserves
Wednesday.
Jimmy
Big
Garoppolo's
Ben's
on
not
there.
on
I mean,
You had Breeze 27th on your list?
I don't know. He's below Matt Ryan, so that was bad.
So Breeze they have at what, 13?
On my list?
Well,
No, the best player in the whole league.
He's
12.
12.
Breeze is the 12th best player in the whole league,
12,
but he's
yeah.
27th on your quarterback list.
Yep, that's right. My list is much better. Jimmy Garoppolo is 32 on my quarterback list.
yeah, I don't know how that happened. Him being 43 on here is just, whoa. I'm not even sure where that comes from.
Well,
Super-
here's what it
Super Bowl
comes
team
from.
hype.
success, I get. I don't know.
He's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they said that a lot of the voting was done in like November, December when the 49ers were like killing everybody and they were undefeated. And he was like kind of carrying the team there for a while in the middle of the year. And that's probably another reason why Patrick Mahomes, because he got hurt in the middle of the year. So he wasn't even playing. And they were still winning without him, which is weird that Drew Brees gets so high because Teddy Bridgewater won a bunch of games. So, and you know what I mean? Like, come on. That's just weird. Here's the other thing I'm getting on. There was, let's see, 2 teams that had 7 players in the top 100. You guys know what those 2 teams were? Anybody? Throw out a team. Close. They had 6.
San Francisco.
They only had 5.
Oh.
Because the Forrest Buckner moved over to Colts. Otherwise, they would have had 6.
How many Vikings are on there? 4?
There's 5 Vikings.
5 Vikings? There's 6
Saints.
Packers.
6 Packers.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay's got, where are they? 5.
Baltimore.
Saints.
Baltimore had 7, yes.
Yeah.
And
Eagles?
Drew Brees and the Saints had 7.
Oh,
Oh my
the
God.
Saints have that many? How?
And here's the other
Loves
thing.
The Saints right now.
Let me ask you guys a question, because this is another thing I've heard all week, because they were talking about, well, how can Russell Wilson be ahead of Patrick Mahomes? And they're like, oh, well, Russell Wilson's got to do it all by himself. He just got nothing there. He got to do it all by himself. Well, if he's got to do it all by himself, why is Carson DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett all on the top 100 if Russell Wilson's doing it by himself? Answer me that question. That's right. Russell Wilson ain't doing it by himself.
Who's got better receivers, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson right now.
Lockett's pretty good. And Doug Baldwin's pretty good.
I don't think
Okay.
Doug Baldwin is even around. Oh, Nick left.
DK Metcalf is
Metcalf's going to be a stud, I think.
he's good.
Yeah, he's a monster. Here's another team that really shocked me. Well, it doesn't shock me, but this is a point of what I was going to say too. Cowboys, 6 players on the top 100, yet their team is always stinky. It's just like they always have talent, but they don't know how to freaking do anything with it. And that's why when I said back in November, or December, I was like, Mike McCarthy is going to be the new head coach of the freaking Cowboys. And I was right. I'm a genius.
And we know that when McCarthy has talent, his system works.
Exactly.
So Mike McCarthy finally has talent again. There you go. Cowboys to the Super Bowl. All right, everybody have a good weekend. See you later. We'll leave you with that. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody, any parting shots before we go? We do got to wrap it up though.
Yeah, you can't just tell everybody goodbye.
I know. I just thought I'd shock some people with a cowboy thing and then bug out.
I had a couple things.
Okay, Eric.
I just noticed that Anthony Harris wasn't on the list, and he tied for the league in interceptions last year. Everyone thinks he's just great safety, which I mean he had kind of a breakout year. So I was kind of surprised he wasn't somewhere on the list, but there's only so much room, so I get it. So I was surprised that, and I was a little surprised Adam Thielen too. I know he was hurt last year; he missed a bunch of games, but I don't know. So did Drew Brees and everything else. So I guess I was kind of surprised on that one also. But I mean, I guess when you see some guys like Ryan Tannehill on the list, it makes you wonder.
Hey.
Well, there were already 17 receivers on the list, though, too.
17 receivers.
Yeah.
Oof, 17
lot.
receivers.
Wow.
And not one of them is named Adam Thielen.
Ooh.
Nope.
Rick,
there's
any
only-
Raiders? Any Raiders should have been on there that weren't on there?
I'm
Marty?
happy they got as much as they did. It's all seriousness. With the one thing I didn't have time to look up that I was going to is, have kickers or punters ever made this list?
I think so. I think Vinatieri was on it one
Oh,
time.
really? Okay.
I mean,
Maybe back
Shane
in the day.
Leckler was like the Raiders MVP for how many years? But,
Well, after Janikowski left, he was. Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder that
Well, I
too,
mean,
because they sure talk a lot about Justin Tucker and how good he is, and wondered if he'd ever made the list.
so,
I don't
know.
I don't think so.
Probably not. Not flashy enough. Pat
Well,
McAfee, if he was still playing, he might have made it.
He said
He
he
was
voted
awesome.
one time. But he's never made the list. Mo, just so you know, there's only 6 safeties that made it. So it's a very exclusive club there. And
Sure.
and a lot of them are big names, like Earl Thomas and
Yeah. I saw Kevin Byard didn't make it either, who's pretty darn good safety too. So
Buda Baker was 97 from the Cardinals. There was 5 Cardinals that made it. I don't know if there's a lot of Cardinals that voted on this or what. Like, I don't get it. But, and I don't know. I haven't seen like hardly any Cardinals games. Like I said, I don't know if Buda Baker is like a monster or what. I beats the crap out of me. But Earl Thomas,
Made a lot of
Harrison
tackles.
Smith, Tyrann Mathieu, I think, changed the defense of the Chiefs, which allowed them to get to the Super Bowl and win. I think he's like the attitude that helped them win. Fitzpatrick is on here. He went to the Steelers, and just that trade happened. He just turned into a monster for the Steelers. He like totally different player. And then Adams with the Jets, who's now a Seahawk. That's the other thing that happened this week. That trade with the freaking Adams to the Seahawks is like scares the crap out of me now. But
Yeah.
Do they ever do one of these lists where the coaches rank them? Because I just think with the amount of film that they watch and stuff like that, that it'd be interesting to see the coaches rank their top 100 versus the players.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
Because like Nico said and Eric echoed, I think the players just watch. They watch the game they played against them, if they played against them, and then they watch highlights, and that's it.
They play Madden.
Yeah.
Hey, some guys watch film. Devontae watches a lot of film.
That's true.
but is he paying attention to what like the centers and the guards are doing, or is he watching what the secondary is doing?
Right. He's watching what secondary is doing. You're right.
Yeah. He doesn't watch what Lindsley does. He didn't see all the times that he misses blocks, but that's okay. That's okay. Hey Ben, one thing I had to say. Did you see the one highlight on Aaron Jones' video where he's like gets out of this one tackle against the Cowboys where the guy's got his leg wrapped up? Did you see Lucas Patrick? You remember Lucas Patrick was in that game, right? And Lucas Patrick was still blocking that guy all the way to the ground as he's trying to tackle Aaron Jones. And that's why he couldn't tackle Aaron Jones, because Lucas Patrick goes to the whistle, man. Not like Billy Turner, who starts and then thinks he hears the whistle and then stops way before the whistle. So
I didn't notice
Lucas
that.
Lucas Patrick for starting guard, please. When you play football in Packers.
I will say this. I watched the Quentin Nelson video, and man, I wish that guy was a Packer. Oh,
He's good.
that dude blocks till the end. And it's awesome. That video of him was awesome. That guy is a monster. That makes you realize, like, these teams that don't draft these awesome guards in the first, like, the Packers never draft a guard. They could have had a good guard. They never draft a guard in the first round, second round, third round. They wait till like the fifth round. Then they finally get a guard. Man.
No one pays attention to guards. I mean, offensive line, no one pays attention to the offensive line. But even within that, the guards get extra shafted. Like, again, the tackles are the ones that get the big contracts and the attention. So,
Eric, you were a guard / tackle. So
right.
I see you preferred guard based on your defense of guards tonight.
I like the underdogs. What can I say? Speaking of dogs, I apologize for my mean wolf dog that's been attacking me throughout the broadcast here.
That's all right. I think we got to wrap it up. You guys have been great. 4-pack equals a 6-pack. Nick, when is the next Bucks game before we go?
Sometime next week.
Attaboy. All right. Everybody take care. Be safe. Wear your mask and be nice to everybody.